had a chance to talk to you since the decision with Zeke. Just go over the decision of moving on from Zeke and how tough it was.
It was all about making the adjustment principally because of the cap.
But did y'all make him an offer?
No specific offer.
No.
Okay, what you're saying is down the line, he's available, you have a need, you could revisit that?
I don't want to ever, and I don't want to leave him hanging, our fans hanging, or anybody. But I wouldn't take any possibility off the table.
Not taking any possibilities off the table. Ezekiel Elliott potentially could go back to the Cowboys. Look, I was told from Elliott's perspective there's a very slim chance of him going back. That was a couple of weeks ago. That was before we had that weird report from Shefty last week that Elliott has 3 finalists, the Bengals, the Jets, and the Eagles. And I quickly found out
that they were his wishes. That's it.
They were his wishes.
Yeah, I want to play for the 3 Super Bowl teams too. Right. Yeah.
Isn't that's a power move. I could say the same thing. You know what? I have narrowed my field of 3 NFL teams down to the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Jaguars. And right. I await their response. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
But you know what, Chris? This is the value of having an agent. Because when you have an agent that's got the relationship with the people in the media and needs a favor, favors get traded all the time in this business. It can be dirty. It can be sordid. I've learned a lot about it over the years. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You help me push my BS narrative out there, I'll make sure you get the first word of where Ezekiel Elliott is going to sign. And it exactly works that way. Don't fool yourself. It does. So Shefty holds his nose a little bit. You don't sell your soul all in one bulk item. You slice it off one sliver at a time. Sells a little bit of his soul, pushes this phony narrative, creates the false impression that Ezekiel Elliott is choosing between the Jets, the Bengals, and the Eagles. Never mind the fact that none of them have made him an offer.
No.
That Zach Taylor that same day said, basically, that's news to me.
Right.
So even though Elliott didn't want to go back to Dallas, at the end of the day, Chris, if all things are equal, if it's crickets elsewhere, and the Cowboys have a light on for him, why wouldn't you go back to Dallas?
That ultimately, I mean, it's what I've been saying. I think it's where it'll end up. I do. You know, I don't think the grass is going to be greener anywhere else. And he's got a place in Dallas where they love him. I mean, they love him. You talk to Jason Garrett or anybody associated with that Cowboys organization, they love him. Love him to the point where, you know, they let him have a contract that was probably too good, honestly. And then let him have even an extra year of it to love him that much. I'm sure he's bitter. I get it. It's personal. But I think as things calm down and he realizes, wait, there's not really a market for me. That place was pretty good, and they did do good by me. And you look at it and go, hey, Tony Pollard might not be ready to go all the way to start the year. You know, if you get the right contract with some incentives, maybe you can hit some numbers and make that a little more lucrative. But I am still one that will say, yeah, like I was shocked when that tweet was sent out. I was like, wait, are those teams really interested, or is he wishing to go there? Like, I want to go to the 3 best teams in football. Well, me too. I do too. But, you know, I think ultimately he's going to end up back with the Dallas Cowboys on something that's a little bit more with the minimum and maybe some splash incentives in there. But I just don't see it anywhere else.
This is where stubbornness can really take over for a player, because it was supposed to be that at the scouting combine, Elliott's agents would find out what's behind door number 2, door number 3, door number 4, what the other alternatives are before they reject whatever the best offer is the Cowboys made.
Yeah.
Clearly, there were not other offers. And clearly, Elliott was not going to take less than what he was supposed to make from the Cowboys. He refuses to entertain that. So, cut me. And he just assumed, like players sometimes do, that there's going to be more of a demand for his services than there was. And at this point, there's none. I've heard of no team interested in Ezekiel Elliott other than the Dallas Cowboys. And I think at the earliest it's going to happen after the draft. We've talked about this repeatedly, primarily in the context of Austin Eckler. There are so many young guys coming into the draft pool every year, full tread on the tires, cheap if you draft them in the mid to late rounds or get them undrafted. Why would you commit to Ezekiel Elliott when there's a chance there's going to be some stud tailback who in other years would have been a first rounder, who's sitting there smiling at you in round 4, and you take him. Forget about Ezekiel Elliott. Well, I mean, look at Alvin Kamara. He was a 3rd-round pick. Sean Payton was thrilled to have him in round 3. And there may be other guys like that. So why would you commit to Ezekiel Elliott until you know whether or not you get that guy in the draft? So I think, at best, Elliott's waiting until after the draft, Chris.
Yeah, I would think so, too. I wouldn't be shocked to hear that. They did sign Ronald Jones, right? And I think you're right. That's where, ultimately teams will see what happens in the draft, who falls to them, and then, okay, reevaluate. We have an OTA. Wait, we do need another running back. We need a power running back, a short yardage. And that's where Zeke does have value. His ability in short yardage situations, I think ultimately will get him on a football team. I do, at the end of the day, expect it to be the Cowboys like you.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.